You know, I'd like to start this video by asking you a question. Now, for years it's been theorised, mainly through religious beliefs, that there is some sort of higher power, a being beyond our imagination, who watches down us on our lives every second of it, even when you're wanking. And this higher power, this god of sorts, is not only responsible for our creation, but our ultimate fate. Now, I just want to ask you this, just for a second, just for a teeny little second, just imagine if that being was me. Now, why am I asking you such a question? Well, allow me to elaborate and confuse you by going off on a tangent. Back in May, I did a video on Lego races. In said video, I talked about an era of Lego games, long before the time of Traveller's Tales licensed series. Lego was as popular and enjoyable then as it is now, with perhaps the exception of needing to take out a fucking mortgage to buy some. And it was during the late 90s that Lego decided to dip its foot into the video game industry, having a hit right off the bat with 1997's Lego Island. And from there it spawned a legacy of wonder. For those who haven't experienced these games, I'm not so sure how to describe it. These are far from the best games ever made, hell, I would even call a few of them outright bad. But there is this unique, quirky charm to these games that invokes this joy and sense of nostalgia in me. While I played most games on consoles back then, my childhood PC gaming experiences was made up of these beauties. The Lego Island trilogy, Lego Racers 1 and 2, Lego Stunt Rally, Lego Land, Lego Rock Raiders, Lego Creator, and the spin-offs, just pure boner-inducing, brickety-wickety, fuckety fun. And as I also said in my Lego Racers video, these games span multiple genres: sandbox, action-adventure, kart racing, real-time strategy. But then there's one I can't quite put my finger on in terms of genre, one that just sticks out from the rest, and this is Lego Loco. I have very vivid memories of playing this game as a young child. Another kid who was my neighbour had this game, and I used to go around and play it with them, but I can't recall too much about it. It's not been until I bought my new PC that I've been able to take this trip down memory lane. Thanks to some advice from the folks down at Rock Raiders United forums, I've been able to get the majority of these old games working, and man, what an awesome sensation it is to be playing all these games again, and I don't care what anyone thinks. I mean, if playing an old Lego game from the late 90s and early 2000s makes me pathetic, then sign me the fuck up. Who needs sex when you've got these, am I right? But now onto the matter at hand, Lego Loco. And all I need to do is adjust my PC resolution to allow the game to run. Basically tricking it into thinking it's running on a lower resolution PC, like my parents trick me into thinking they actually love me. And then we boot up this sucker and listen to that oh so iconic and oh so satisfying startup sound. Man, if I had some lotion and tissues right now. After this, we have our intro. Two guys on a pump cart going seemingly nowhere since the world around them is only just manifesting itself. Aha! A train coming to kill them both horribly. Now that's interesting. Excuse me. What? So are we just going to abandon and ignore the two guys about to face a horrible, gory end? So this guy loses his letter and we cut back to the train guys and... Okay, now that is the face of pure terror and panic if I ever saw it. And just before this guy can try and save them, this hand that I guess rules the world decides to be a dick and puts him in the middle of nowhere. Okay, and now we're travelling through time. Okay, no, now we're back. Now this guy is a fucking superhero all of a sudden. Probably would have come handy a bit earlier, but, you know, day is saved, God knows what, and he gets his letter back. I have no goddamn clue what any of that was or how it relates to the rest of the game, but hell, I enjoyed it. And now we get to the main menu, with no real clear indication of which button does what. I mean, this either allows us to choose between single player or multiplayer, or Nintendo are getting a bit too carried away with these crossover games. Clicking this tick takes us straight into the game, and we're given our instructions by the station master, who I'm a bit worried might be having a stroke. So this right here is the game, and how does it work exactly? Well, now it's finally time to refer you back to my initial question. You see, the idea of Lego Loco is that you are essentially the almighty god to this patch of land here, and you get to construct your town with a particular focus on trains. And eventually your town will become populated and start to become a bit livelier. Your interface is the toy box, which allows you to select buildings, track, road and scenery, as well as a choice of terrain, erasing things, and the option to annihilate everything and everyone. And seeing as this preset town is, for a lack of a better phrase, a bit shit, this seems like the only appropriate option at the given moment. Fresh start for my world. Many things to see, many things to do, many possibilities to explore, and many questions to ask. Will I be an omnipotent god? An all-loving god? Well, knowing me, probably not, because I'm a bit of a cunt. Now we need a starting point to build this new civilization from, a foundation upon which a new society can blossom. Oh yes, and I also forgot to mention I'm an immature god. At least it will make for an interesting verse in my Bible. On the first day there was a knob, and with our foundation set in stone, it's time to create my perfect world. At least more perfect than the fuck heap our society lives in today.
Hours later.
And at last, my vision is finally realised. What a wondrous mishmash of shite. I introduce you to Below Averageville. Or Swindon, I haven't quite settled on a name yet. Allow me to give you the grand tour. Upon entering our world, you'll pass through the volcanic avenue of hell. You see, we simply can't accommodate for everyone here, so new travellers to the town will have a 50% chance of being burned alive by eruptions. It works wonders for population control. Up here is the, town bit. For when people say they're just popping into town, like, this is where they go. Over here is our town centre, our town hall built where the foundation started. And to commemorate this sacred land, I have put dinosaurs in the testicle bits because that idea sounded really damn cool in my head. And this is our park area because there's like ponds and shit, you know? And we not only expect but encourage recreational drug use and the discarding of several corpses in our lakes. And finally, this is the mysterious monument. A display of ancient ruins I have left behind for the people to discover. They will analyse it for years and interpret many ideas and theories as to its meaning. Only to discover it means absolutely fucking nothing and was only put there because it looks fun. So yeah, this is Lego Loco. This is more or less the full extent of the game you're seeing here. After building your town, you just have to wait for people to populate it in hopes of something interesting happening. Now, from what I understand, this game had multiplayer features of sorts. You were able to send messages and postcards to other people's worlds via trains that would leave your world and enter theirs. A neat idea, nothing amazing, but certainly cool. And this is where I rediscovered a part of the game I certainly remember, the postcard creator. It's what it says on the tin. You create a postcard out of several assets at your disposal to send to someone, any message you want. And then this gets sent off by the game's post office. Okay, now I am scarred for life. And lo and behold, upon exiting the postcard editor, I see a speck of life. The first being to populate the glorious land of Swindon. And his name is Lee. Unfortunately for us, Lee's a bit of an annoying twat and must be named justly. Yes, not even basic human rights such as choosing your own name exist in my world order. I also came to notice there was a design flaw in the town centre's left testicle, and after rectifying it, it occurred to me, should we receive any more annoying twats, it may be wise to isolate them from society, seeing as no one would want to put up with their sheer annoyingness. So I built a new part of town, deep within the forest where they shall bother no one. Last Resort Corner. And a last resort it may be, since we now have a Crime Stopper moved into my town to deal with the twats. The brave and legendary Juan. Now, Juan's secret identity is no secret to us, so I'll rename him appropriately. And soon we have a slew of new people move in, and naming them for my own personal amusement is certainly entertaining. And it appears Last Resort Corner may have been more luxurious than I have anticipated since we've had a new resident move in. And his name is Pontus, and he seems to be having a whale of a time. I mean, I'd probably be happy if I was separated from the rest of the weirdos that populate my town. And I know a god is supposed to love everyone equally, but I mean, come on. This kind of cheerful loyalty doesn't happen that often, so how can I not pick a favourite here? And afterwards, not much really happens. We get people come in, I give them names against their will, and life goes on as normal. And I don't know, I don't really know what to do or where to go from here. As I said, this is more or less the full extent of the game. There's not much real gameplay here aside from actually building your town and the postcard editor. And granted, it looks very nice and colourful for its time. There's a nice amount of charm in the presentation and the personalities of people who live in your town. But aside from that, there's not really much going on here, and I don't really know what the point point is. Referring back to earlier when I said I really couldn't pinpoint Lego Loco, I mean it. Like, what kind of game is this? It's not really a simulation game since there's not much interactivity with your own town once it's done. At least not on the scale of something like The Sims, where you can directly affect the lives of the characters and have fun with it. I guess it's meant to act like a virtual Lego train set of sorts, but that in itself is nothing special and makes for really boring gameplay. Apart from designing and building your town, sending postcards and admiring the charm it has, this game really has not much going for it. I don't know, I just feel there's not much point beyond this. I mean, the idea of an early apocalypse is certainly starting to sound tempting. So life carries on in Swindon, more people move in, including a second twat. Some cars are now going round and— oh no, wait, something's happening. Juan has stepped inside a telephone booth. Oh damn, now this is interesting. Well, kind of interesting. I mean, as a superhero he just sort of flies around and does nothing. But at least it's something exciting that's happened. And we might just need his acts of heroism in these dark times, since we now have a third twat spawn in. This is starting to become a severe plague on my town, and I might have to resort to the last resort. But then life goes on as normal. Some people are happy, some people are angry, like Johan here. Well, I'm afraid this is a tightly run dictatorship here, Johan, so suck it up. Well, actually, I just picked him up and moved him 4 feet, and he seemed pretty satisfied with that. Aside from this, some trains keep crashing because I'm not paying attention, and Pontus is still living life to the fullest. Now, seeing as Pontus is quite tolerable, I've decided to move all the twats to Last Resort Corner in hopes that he can sort them out. And I think Juan seems quite happy with this decision. However, all of this work just feels in vain. As God of these people, I can't help but think of how much of a massive disappointment each and every one of them is. And it solidified a decision I've been pondering on. My decision to bring the end of days for Swindon. I simply cannot see the point in going on any further. But I will not forget this land, or its people. Good old Juan and his pointless vigilanteism. Johan, who would have nothing more than being moved a few feet. And Pontus. Dear, dear Pontus. Oh, how your unmatched joy will forever stay in my memories. And at least you'll die happy, literally drowning in twat. Good night, sweet prince. And fuck the rest of you, see you in hell. Well, that was fun. And that is Lego Loco. Now, I know our time spent with this game was short, but to be honest, I really didn't see the point in going on any further. Now, it's not bad by any means, it's still decently fun, but admittedly, a lot of the nostalgia has worn off. And when I step back and take a look at it for what it is now, it's nothing much. Gameplay-wise, it struggles to keep you invested beyond building your town, and doesn't provide much of an incentive to keep going. But granted, like a lot of Lego games of this era, it still has charm. A fun, playful and nonsensical vibe to the whole thing that, paired with the wonderfully colourful presentation, saves it from being outright bad. Well, that's that. But it still bothers me, you know, even after experiencing all the game had to offer, I just still can't figure out the point of Lego Loco, the purpose of this game. I need some time to think. I'm going for a walk. I just don't get it. What is the point of Lego Loco? What was I supposed to take from this game? Enjoyment? A sense of fulfillment? Then why don't I feel that? Why is my hair suddenly shorter and my beard gone? Oh wait, yeah. I had a haircut in between recordings. That makes sense. But I still feel odd, like I have this great burden of responsibility and regret looming over me. Almost as if I failed. Failed as a god to the world I had created, to the people I swore to protect, and perhaps manipulate their lives in small but inconvenient ways for my own amusement. I never thought I'd say it, but I kinda miss Swindon. Did I make the right decision to destroy it? Maybe. Maybe not. But at least I can say this. When you see the entire history of a world played out entirely in front of you in the form of a 45-minute gaming session,
it kind of puts things into perspective. It makes you think about our world and our own lives. No. Wait. No, it can't be. Was that the point of Lego Loco? To make me perceive our own reality in a different way so that I may appreciate it more? Is the point of Lego Loco to some way reflect the world we live in? Almost as if our world is just one giant Lego Loco game, where some other creator makes the rules and looks down upon us with his own burdens and responsibilities. And only by putting myself in a similar position would I truly be able to witness and understand creation for what it is. In my world, I saw it all. Nature, humanity, anger and joy, villainy and heroism, infrastructure and technology, the entire history of society and civilization, from creation to destruction. All because of me. Huh. Maybe that's what the person controlling our world sees and feels. And perhaps I can appreciate our own world and my own life a lot more having experienced that. Maybe that was the point of Lego Loco. Maybe not. Perhaps there is no God. Probably not. Perhaps this inner monologue is just my desperate attempt at justifying to myself that these questions I have about a late 90s computer game actually matter. But even so, after this whole experience, I can't help but sit back and think, what a fucking waste of my time.